I was checking vitals on my patients when a little girl grabbed my sleeve and whispered, "Please don't leave me alone with the doctor." Her hands shook even as her grip on me tightened. "Sweetie, what's wrong? Did something happen?" I sat down on the edge of her bed and glanced at her chart. 8 years old, routine appendectomy recovery, nothing out of the ordinary. I gave her a soft smile and said, "I know doctors and nurses can be a little scary, but your surgery is all done. No more needles, no more pain. Dr. Keenan only wants you to get better." She shook her head furiously in disagreement. "He scares me," she finally said. "I don't want him to come in here, please." Before I could ask what she meant, the door swung open and Dr. Keenan walked in with his tablet. He smiled at the girl who trembled and stared at me with pleading eyes. "Hello, I'll take it from here. You can go," he told me. I couldn't refuse, but the moment I stood up and saw the smile on his face, I knew something was wrong, and I needed to get to the bottom of things. I went straight to the nurse's station and pulled aside Carla, who'd been working this floor for 15 years. "Have you noticed anything weird about Dr. Keenan? Any complaints from patients?" She shrugged. "Keenan? No, he's one of the good ones. In fact, he was the only one who gave all the nurses gifts last Christmas." "Why?" I frowned, feeling even more lost. "Well, one of the little girls on this floor is completely terrified of him." Carla tilted her head in confusion. "That's strange. I've never heard anything like that about him. Maybe she's anxious? You know how kids can get when it comes to hospitals." I had the same thoughts, but I couldn't shake the feeling that there was something more. I mean, most kids who were anxious about treatment were afraid of nurses too, but this girl wasn't. She was only specifically afraid of him. So I asked 2 more nurses and got the same response. Nobody had seen or heard anything suspicious. But just as I was ready to give up, one of the janitors pulled me aside in the hallway. "I heard you earlier, asking people about Keenan. I saw him doing something strange last week," he said quietly. Then he paused, looking around to make sure nobody else was listening. "He was in the medication stockroom, taking things from the locked cabinet and hiding it in his coat. When he spotted me, he just said it was for a patient. But what's weird was when I told him he needed to log it, protocol. He got angry, told me to mind my own business and stay out of his way. He'd been watching me ever since." I watched the janitor shift around nervously. "Do you remember what he took?" He nodded slowly. "Red vial from the top right shelf, blue and yellow bottles from the middle shelf in the back." I felt my entire tremble, realizing exactly what those were. Anesthetics, sedatives, medications that could knock someone out or worse if used wrong. "Why didn't you report this?" His face wrinkled up as he said exasperatingly, "I'm a janitor. He's a handsome doctor. Who are people gonna believe?" I patted his shoulder. "I believe you. Thank you." I turned around and ran back toward the kids' room, but when I entered, the entire room was empty. The bed was made, the monitors were off, and there was no sign of the little girl anywhere. My mind started racing in a panic. I ran to the front desk on the floor. "The girl in that room, where is she?" The receptionist checked her computer and blinked back at me. "She should be in her room. Nobody's checked her out." I slammed my hand on the counter. "She's not there. What about Dr. Keenan?" He clocked out 20 minutes ago," she stammered. I called security immediately. "I think Dr. Keenan took a patient. 8-year-old girl, still recovering from surgery. Mousy brown hair." At first they thought it was a joke, but when they pulled up the parking lot footage and saw the doctor carry out the unconscious patient and place him in his personal car, they knew this was serious. The security instantly called the police, handing over the license plate, vehicle description, and issued an Amber Alert. I listened to the radio chatter as they spotted him on the highway heading toward the state line. "Units in pursuit. Suspect vehicle isn't stopping." I couldn't breathe. The guilt of leaving her in that room with him when she begged me not to was eating me alive. I just couldn't wrap my head around it all. Why would a doctor with a clean record suddenly kidnap his patient? Suspect vehicle forced to roadside. Suspects exiting the vehicle. He's running. Suspect has fled on foot. Child's in the vehicle. Child's safe. The officers radioed back. They brought her back to the hospital an hour later, but instead of looking relieved, she was frantic, kicking and scratching and begging the officers to take her back. It made even less sense. I sat down next to her and held her hand. "Sweetie, I don't understand. You were scared. You got kidnapped. Now you want to go back to him? Why?" She stared up at me and said through her tears, "Because he's my dad." Everyone paused. "What?" "He used to hurt us, so Mom and I left him. But he needs me so he can save Mom. He said Mom needs me, but she doesn't want the surgery. Please take me back. My mom needs me." The officers and I looked at each other wondering the same thing. What now? Full story on channel linked below.